Welcome to That Word series on Edify TV. Today, my guest is Mrs. Diana Hopeson, the good old gospel sensation. She is also the CEO of GH Music Publishing. Today, I'm here to have a conversation with her. Mrs. Diana Hopeson, welcome to Edify TV.
Thank you.
And how are you doing?
I'm doing well. I
Yeah.
always say I'm blessed and highly favored like you.
That's nice. That's nice. We are glad to have you on Edify TV today. And to start with, we want you to take us to the journey of Diana Hopeson.
Thank you very much, and I'm happy to be on Edify TV today. Diana Hopeson is a Ghanaian born in Accra. Actually, last year was my Golden Jubilee, so I'm really excited.
Wow.
But it all started, I would say life really started off at North Carnation. I'm the seventh of, the last born of 7 children to Mr. Francis Ahin Boche and Madame Hannah Amu. Growing up in North Carnation was exciting. I would say we were middle class family, and so we had enough to eat and drink, and we was schooled at Bubuashi Cable and Wireless, then moved to Eton Preparatory School, then to Winneba Secondary School.
Okay.
Yes, my mom was into Musa Madi School. Christo Church was in that church, so we attended that a bit. But we also had an Assemblies of God church just across our house, opposite. So we were the children who would gather when there's crusade and stuff like that. So I would say we had the gospel quite early. Okay. And there were some missionaries from Brazil that came to even teach us, Portuguese songs and stuff like that. And at that time, as a child, I looked at these missionaries and I felt, I like the life of these women. I mean, they've left their country. They can't even speak any Ghanaian dialects. Their English is not too good. And yet they came and showed us the love of Christ, and we could see and feel that love. So along the line, I attended a bit of Kaneshi Presby because my neighbors,
That's our church. That's our church. Kudos to our church.
Their last daughter, Sewa, was my friend, and she was to attend Child Evangelical Society that was being hosted by the Ghana Kaneshi Presby. That was on Saturday. So I started attending with her, and at that fellowship, they did tell us that when we go to secondary school, we should go to SC. So my whole journey actually started in secondary school when I was 13, going 14. Wow. I had an encounter.
So you started secondary school at 13?
Yes.
Wow.
And I had an encounter with Christ during exams week, Form 2 exams week. And let me briefly say how it happened. I mean, I had gone forward to receive Christ several times, but after life becomes normal. I wouldn't say I was a bad girl or anything, but the way I wanted to walk with Christ and talk to God, I couldn't do that. I couldn't do my quiet times all the time. But this particular moment, I was studying and nothing was going. And so it's like, oh God, I know you hear people's prayers, so please help me. All of a sudden, I just felt some presence with me, and all the things I had done that were wrong, like taking milk in the fridge.
You need to convict you, kind of.
It started coming. So when I feel it, I see it, that it was wrong. I felt it's normal. Then I pray, ask God to forgive me, and then another thing will come to mind. I kept doing that till after a moment, I felt cleansed. I was in tears all this while. I felt so clean, and I knew that the Lord has indeed come to live in my heart. Then I took the book and it was like, study this, learn that. And the next morning when I went for the exams, I remembered everything and wrote so well that was like, wow. And since that time, my life has never been the same. I have maintained my relationship with God in terms of reading His Word daily and praying daily and trying to obey what is in the Word. By age 18, I knew I would be a musician. Now, it was not easy. I mean, when I accepted Him fully and started to live right for Him, there were a lot of songs that I sang that were just were not glorifying to God. And he had to take effort, conscious effort, when it comes to mind, consciously decide not to sing it and sing that or something.
Right.
And it took a while, but after some months, all those nonsense songs, you know, as secondary school children, there were a lot of Jama songs.
Yeah. Do you remember some of the nonsense songs?
Oh,
you don't
some
want to
profane
talk about
and stuff like that. Or, you know, as you know, some were educative songs, but some were just not edifying. Every song has its role.
Sure.
But to constantly feed your mind with songs that are nonsense or not edifying, does not put you in a good frame of mind to think productively.
Right.
So by 18, I knew I'll be into music.
Okay. And so by 18, knowing that you're going to be in music, I think from this point, would you want to share with us the journey into the music industry?
Yeah. Okay. So I got married very early, after my sixth form.
Okay.
And my husband too was very young. That's my first marriage. Okay. He was just graduating from the Assemblies of God Ministry. Bible School. Yes. Okay. So we got married, and he was crazy about my singing. So anywhere we go, he would just let me sing before he preaches. Even if he's not going to preach, he would see the organizers to make me sing. Yeah. And people sort of also appreciated my songs. In those days, I sang a lot of hymns. Then long Mary Dancers music, Estanyamiches recordings came out, and I started singing their songs. And when I ministered their songs, it was just
different dimension of
something else. Wow. And so I finally got the opportunity of recording my first album in 1991. And it was launched at the Business School Auditorium at Legon.
Oh, okay.
The title was He is Lord. That we entered the industry not very prepared, so we couldn't really sell that much. But I had the opportunity of appearing on GTV to do.
Those days, that was the only television station that was okay.
That's right. Okay. So once I was on, it's like the whole Ghana saw what I could offer. Right. And Christian music was the top distribution center in those days. Okay. So they offered to record my next album. Wow. And that was how Winner, Onyame Odomfo, you are there.
That's what Onyame Odomfo, you were saying right before we conclude this conversation.
That was how that album was recorded in 1993. And it was an instant hit. That brought me to the limelight. And we followed up with Yesumo. So followed up with that one. Then If Jesus says yes, no one can say.
I remember that one.
Recorded that one too in 95. Then the Lord opened the door for us to have an European tour in 95. And then I started a recording there. So in 96, I went back to Amsterdam to finish that recording. Came back in 97. And there was another transition because my then husband had an issue health-wise. There was a mental health issue, so we had to be separated, and that took another toll in my journey.
Wow!
Because I had to start life
reorganize yourself
all over again. Wow. So for 10 years, I still was recording, but I went back to the School of Performing Arts. I went back to school to continue my education. At the same time, I went to the missionary. After my schooling at the University of Ghana, I went to Youth with a Mission to train as a missionary. And then I started the Performing Arts ministry there. All this time, I was still faithful to music. As soon as I released my first album, I registered and I was faithful. So by God's grace, by 97, I had run through the ranks.
I was going to come there. That viewers, you're still watching edifitv. This is That Word series with Mrs. Diana Hopeson. We're having a conversation of her life and music ministry, where she started from and where she is now. Now, I'm going to take the next question. Climbing through the ranks of music and finally becoming the boss of music. How did it feel?
Well, I would say if you want to be great in the kingdom, you have to be the servant of all. My heart has been to serve wherever I am. Even in doing my music, when I'm recording, I'm serving because I want to get you the worship atmosphere. I have a song that has blessed me so much that I want to share that presence with you. That is what moves me to record and stuff like that. And so as a young and then a hit artist, because when I made that big hit in 93, even I got a recommendation letter from Billy Graham Evangelistic Association. BBC interviewed me like 45 minutes, featuring music from Africa. There were a lot of achievements. Of course, I sang for the then GAB president and other people, had the opportunity of going abroad and other African countries, all through music. You know, Nigeria, Cote d'Ivoire, other places. And I mean, gospel. Because sometimes people think if you sing gospel, you are limited. And I'm here to say that you are never limited when you do gospel music. Because music is music. If it is good and it appeals to the heart of people, they will love it. And it doesn't matter where you stand. You can declare what God has given you. And so it was not easy. I mean, when I remember during Alhaji Studio Kubuari's time, I became the second vice. And I was very active, especially with gospel musicians. I was like a coordinator for the artists. In those days, every year we were doing annual Thanksgiving musical concerts. I was very instrumental in organizing that. I represented Musica is a civil society. So we were on several committees where we represented our industry in that small way. In terms of making policies, I was right there. And one thing I did too was I never missed any training program that went on for the industry through the copyright office, and stuff like that. Because our industry is such that if you don't learn and read, you'll be left behind because technology changes all the time. But working with musicians is not easy. I mean, satisfying artists is not easy. And so I saw the challenges and never thought I would want to front because it's a tough area. But by the time, after second vice, 4 years, first vice, I still had not made my mind. I was at church. That was the time Alhaji had finished and was now preparing. And I heard it clearly. It was God who said I should take it up and he would be with me. Because I had seen a lot of things I wanted to change in the union. But then because of the way musicians behave and how hard the work is, I mean, I didn't want to because it was a heavy task. But when the Lord assured me that he would be with me and showed me the areas that he wanted me to handle, I was confident and ready to go on board.
Right. Let me ask you, before you, has there been any female who has taken up that position before?
No, not president. During Joe Mensah's era, Asabia Kopa was the vice.
So we can be confident to say that you are the first female that became the president of Musica.
That is correct.
That is a great achievement. I think you deserve some applause here, right?
To God be the glory.
Wow.
And I would say that it's amazing. I learned project management and stuff like that, and that came so handy. The Institute of Music and Development organized project management course for creative arts people, and I happened to attend. And so when I became president, that became something useful. I wrote a lot of proposals and I got positive response to all. So I was able to set up a recording studio, a rehearsing studio. That was, I would say, the foremost in town. And after that, many people now set up studios for rehearsing. And I'm so happy because I realized that, I mean, people use the church instruments, how instrumentalists have spoiled church instruments. And then because of the time, artists' performances were a bit substandard because they could not really get places to rehearse. So that was a conscious effort to get people to have spaces that they could rehearse freely. And I organized a lot of training for the artists because even simple meeting procedures, many people didn't know. And we had to consciously get sponsorship to do such workshops. Unfortunately, many do not even come. But at least the few
that
came, we
had an
saw,
impact
yeah,
on them.
and there's an improvement in the way we do things.
Wow, that was fantastic. Now, I want us to take a short break, and when we come back, we're going to ask Mrs. Diana Hopeson, being a mother and a minister of the gospel, the trend of issues relating to young people today. What will be her take on that? We'll be right back. Hello viewers, welcome back. And before we proceed to take the next question, I feel within my spirit that we need to ask Auntie Diana to give us a touching melody of worship so that we can use that one to introduce the next subject. Auntie Diana, we are in your hands. Wow, I've been a chorister for today under the unction of Mrs. Diana Hopeson. Thank you very much for watching. This is edifitv and That Word series with Mrs. Diana Hopeson. Now we zoom into our next question, which has to do with young people and youth of our nation. Quite recently, there have been several issues in the national level that concerns young people. Some few months ago, about last year, some young people killed a professor. We heard also in Kasua that two young people, their own friend, murdered him, all with all the story. Mom, you've been a mother. How do you take this stories or this news? Is it a failure on the part of society, failure on the part of parents, or is just the sheer indiscipline on the part of children or the youth of today?
I believe that we all have a part to play. We all have a part to play. You know, the Bible says we should train up the child the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. So the house, the family, is the cradle. You know, the family is the beginning of society. And if parents do not play their role well, of course, when it comes to the hardness of heart of children, that is why the Bible says we should spare the rod and spoil the child. When it comes to discipline, parents have a big role. It is we parents in the house that we need to teach the children to know how to say please, thank you, know that hard work pays, know that respect to the elderly is mandatory, know that it is important to serve. And then it is the duty of our teachers to teach the arithmetic, the English, the geography, and all those subjects. So if we parents do ours well, but right now, because of society, people needing money for things, it looks like most parents prefer doing work to take all their time than spending quality time with their children. I grew up in the 70s. In those days, yes, I will not see my parents from Monday to Friday, but Saturdays and Sundays, they were always home with us. And we looked forward to the weekend because parents would be around. You would have proper balanced diet to eat. I mean, there were things that made home nice. There were visits and stuff like that. But now many parents are so busy with this economic situation, working. So by the weekend, they are so tired, and funerals and stuff take the space. I would say the time parents spend with their children now needs something to be done about it. Having said that, the society also has a role to play. If in the society people don't question people having money, I mean, people are not concerned about how people got their money, but the root cause is only if the person is able to show affluence and money, they are respected, then we have something wrong. Society needs to praise hard work, good work, respect.
Not to cut into that, even this issue about society respecting people who has money without questioning the root of it, it's also even eating into the church.
So I was going to go to the church, because when you take the parents and you take the schools, the next area is the church. The church is where the children will be prepared spiritually, because we need to grow in dimensions. Jesus, the Bible says in Luke 52, verse 2, that Jesus grew in stature, in favor with God and with man. He grew in wisdom, in stature, and in favor with God and man. So it means we should learn, educate ourselves, read, go to school, grow socially in favor with man, be in good relationship with your parents, your friends, your neighbors, the extended family. You need a healthy relationship with them. Where values are learned. Sure. If you are a child, you know how to respect the elderly. The elderly also know how to treat the child, where you know that this is my mother, this is my neighbor, this is my friend, this is my brother, this is my sister, this is my cousin, this is my auntie, this is my nieces, and relate accordingly. That you don't relate with a friend as you relate with a sibling, knowing the differences. Morality, good morals. Practicing, we know that sex should be practiced in marriage, making sure that the morals are right. If we, the parents, are not showing the examples, the children will follow. Then comes the church. Spiritually, we need to grow spiritually. I mean, nobody can grow. That in-depth desire to have God is there. And so if you don't feel in with God, then now people come to look for other powers which are adverse and they are disastrous. And so the church needs to also fulfill its obligation by empowering the Sunday school teachers, giving them the needed materials, making room for the children to have playgrounds. The society, let me say this here. Every community should have a community center where there will be a place for children to play. But look at our communities today. People have encroached on all community centers. You can count few places. We need to have parks, nice places for our children to go and recreate after school. If we don't create this for our society, we are breeding the children only on TV and on phones, and that will not help. Apart from that, children by themselves, everybody has his character and may have some flaws. But it is up to we, the parents, teachers, the community, the elderly, to guide them, and the church as well. So all these 4 areas, we need to do our part. And I believe if we do our part, at least we can reduce this menace. I was really sad. I was very sad when I heard, especially with the 11-year-old boy that was, murdered.
Wow.
And these are minors too. And so punishing them too has its own implications. I pray that God will help us. This is a call on us parents to be very vigilant. This is a call on us churches to make sure our Sunday schools are really well stocked. This is a call on society. What do we hold up and uphold? This is a call on our government so that good policies, we will enforce good policies. The indiscipline of we, the adults, should be checked. I'm really happy. Last week I went, I'm in Adenta. So coming from Medina, the traffic at the Medina junction has been a headache. I always pray when I get there that who is to take charge? And I must say that whoever is in charge now has done a great job.
The MC deserves an applause.
Yes, I would say that.
I said the same when we were coming.
I just drove there and I saw that discipline is now there. Yes. So it means we can do it. We can make Ghana work. Let's not give up. We can make Ghana work if we all play our roles and be disciplined ourselves.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you. This one could even end the conversation. But before we end the conversation, let me find out from Auntie Diana what the GH Music Publishing does so that we'll conclude with that.
Thank you very much, Asidi. You know, Musica had some funding from government to do research for the industry. Every industry needs proper data, a kind of a research so that investors will know the needed area and stuff like that. And so from that report, I realized that publishing is not many people are doing that. So I have been waiting that more people would. I realized that no, we need to take the initiative to set this up. And like I tell you, I do things by inspiration. Yeah, sure. I felt the call to go into publishing. And God has been so faithful. So what we do music administration. After you have recorded your work, we can do the copyright, we do the split sheets, we have sub-publishers all over the world. Special training to understand. We have sub-publishers, so we make sure your work goes to these sub-publishers. We do sheets music. We transcribe the songs so that orchestras and music. Music can be played just as it is when people who are educated in music want to play your work. And we have started with some digital distribution. We have 30 online stores. And we are also doing music monitoring because we need to know where our songs have been used globally so that we can generate royalties for the musicians. So GH Music Publishing, its mandate is to take Ghanaian music, Ghanaian work, and put it out there with the right administrative work done so that the royalties will come to the rightful owners. That is our mandate.
And by this time, your pocket is...
And we have a lot of artists. Joe Metal is part of us, Sonny Badu, of course, myself, and a lot of musicians.
Wow, that is GH Music Publishing. So if you're a musician and you are not yet part, I think you need to do that. Finally, for all the span of life, the experiences you have gathered, I want you to look into the camera and share some few thoughts with young people who are watching this episode with you.
My dear ones, there's nothing you cannot do. The aeroplane you see, it's a human being who did it. All the good things, the computer you are using, the mobile phone you have, it was a human being who did it. And they are not superhuman. What did they do? They knew their interest area, they worked on it, they searched on it, they spent time to develop things. They wanted to provide solutions to needed areas, to needed things. And that is how they got to where they are. The one who discovered bulb, the electricity, the bulb, he tried 100 times and failed. And so I want to encourage you that you are God's mindset. You have been made on this earth because you have something specific to do. And you are the one who would do that. Don't hide the talent God has given you. Jesus told this parable where someone got 3, someone got 2, someone got 1. The person who got 1 felt it was too small, so he hid it. And scripture described that person as being wicked and being bad. So don't ever think that what you can do is too small. Maybe yours is just painting. Maybe yours is shining shoes. Maybe yours is oratory. You can speak and speak wisely. Whatever it is, learn about it. See it as something God has given you and unique for you. Do it with all your heart. I mean, people who have done it, meet them, find out how they made it. And I believe your life will never be a waste. Ghana needs you. That is why you have been born here on this planet. And so I want to encourage you to like who you are as God has made you, and see how you can also contribute your quota to yourself first, to your family, the community, for Ghana, and the rest will be history. So whoever you are, don't think you have nothing. Sometimes we like comparing ourselves to people. That is not necessary. You can't compare a teaspoon with a ladle. The ladle has its use and role, and the teaspoon has its use and role. What a teaspoon can do, the ladle cannot do it. So if you are a teaspoon, don't force yourself and aspire that you want to be a ladle. Because if we are all ladles, who would supply the need of the teaspoon? We are all needed, and we are all important. And so I want to encourage you, honor other people with their giftings, but don't look down on yourself and what God has made you. Ghana needs all of you. I love you.
That is Mrs. Diana Hopeson. This is where we bring the curtains to a close for today. This has been That Word series on Edify TV. I've been your host, Nana Esiedu. My guest today has been Mrs. Diana Hopeson. Go on YouTube channel and type in Edify TV, EDIF TV, one word, and you have every of this conversation that we have, so that you can glean the inspiration that was shared on this platform today. Thank you for watching. See you in another episode.